Before the video starts, I just want to say if you're coming just to watch the tuning content, we start driving right around the 25-minute mark. So if you wanted to only watch that stuff, you can go ahead and skip to there. But the entire video is a bunch of good content. I'd highly recommend watching it. You won't regret it. And if you're a true homie and support me, support the channel, I greatly appreciate you guys. And yeah, that's all I got. Let's get to the video, baby. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Back home now, back in the garage with our boy Panzer. And I've been just working to get this thing done off camera. Tomorrow I have to get this loaded in the trailer, and we're heading to Boxer Fest. I think we're leaving here Saturday, staying the night somewhere near the area in Pennsylvania, and then we're gonna reveal this thing to the public on Sunday, and I am so freaking stoked. Right now there is rain on the forecast, so hopefully that goes away. Don't need rain going down my exhaust, but worst case, we can slap a tent or something over the top of the hood and we'll be fine. But here is what I got. Turbo kit is obviously back installed. I got our boost controller wired in and loomed. All of our clamps are now installed on all the intercooler piping, so that's good to go. The oil drain on this side, I know it's a little bit tricky to see. Let me see if I can focus it down there, turn up the brightness. There she is. So, ended up just putting a hole in the valve cover. It's behind this filler cap. It's kind of hard to see, but I essentially just used that same filler cap idea that we made and just put a -10 cap on it. So now I just take that cap off and we can fill it with oil, which I'm gonna have to do because we had the valve cover off and we leaked a little bit out. But yeah, everything is good to go. The only issue, well, as of right now, the only issue, the heat wrap and everything, the turbo blanket, the heat wrap, the line wrap, it never showed up. Funk Motorsports sent it out. It was like the end of July. Shipped, it was moving through August 1st. It got stopped in somewhere in the UK. I think the tracking says something about London. I don't really know, but the last notification we have is that it arrived somewhere in the UK. And it hasn't shown up since. So that's a bummer, meaning I can't really run this car for, well, I can't let it warm up because it's gonna get probably too hot and start melting some rubber and some lines around it, which wouldn't be too ideal, but it should be enough to start it. We can get it backed out, and then when it comes time to load it in the trailer, I can fire it up, drive it up in the trailer, shut it off. When we get to Boxer Fest, start it up, unload it, get it where we need it, and shut it off. Shouldn't get that hot. We do have some standoff distance from certain lines. Don't think it'll be that big of an issue as long as we're not, you know, ripping on the dang thing. But we'll definitely be able to hear it rev a few times. And yeah, so I'm gonna get this thing lowered down. We gotta drop maybe like half a quart of oil in it. I do wanna do an oil change, but no parts stores have oil filters around here. Well, Subaru ones anyways. So I'll get one of them on order. We'll do an oil change after Boxer Fest. And yeah, I was supposed to go on the dyno directly after, but might have to change the plans now because can't put it on the dyno without any heat protection. We will burn this thing to the ground. So let's get it on the ground and fire it up. My dad's here as well, so we can get his reaction to the first start. Ready?
I'm ready.
That's freaking nuts. That's the first time I ever heard it rev. You can definitely hear the turbo start to spool out.
Yeah, it was spool. That's a lot of freaking E85 right there.
Was it spraying everywhere?
Yeah. I stuck my hand over it just in the nick of time. I got it out of there. I don't smell.
I just had to get a cold rev in there. How warm is she?
It wasn't bad when I touched it.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it only ran for a minute, but look at it all dripping off the hood.
That's awesome.
She is rowdy, and it sounds good.
Yeah.
Like, we made that.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is so sick. So now I'm just gonna let it cool a little bit, and then I'm gonna back it out of the garage because I have some work to do on the Evo, finally. And then tomorrow, I gotta get this car cleaned up and loaded in the trailer because we're taking it to Pennsylvania on Saturday morning, and it is Thursday night. So definitely crunch time, but oil pressure looked good. That was the first time I actually checked oil pressure, and we were up in the 90s, so we're dialed. So let me get this thing cleaned up and get her backed out of the garage. So I got the car out of the garage, and we got our Fender here. Oh, don't want to step on that guy. This took me forever to find. This is like straight Japan part, I'm pretty sure. Shout out to a follower on Instagram a while back that led me to finding this. But I didn't even know about it until we got our instructions for this Varus kit, which, as you can see, are conveniently all in Japanese. And luckily, I know how to read Japanese using Google Translate. Yeah, this is a great time. But either way, we got a Fender here. Now, from what Google Translate says is we have to kind of grind some of this piece down, which I did a little bit already, as you can see. Kind of grinded her down a little bit, but I'm not exactly sure how much we have to grind down until we get the side skirt. So I'm just going to leave this off for now, and we're going to move on to the next step, which is getting the fender on the car. So I'm not exactly sure what I did with all the hardware. I've had this thing off for so long. But I do have some JDC hardware for the top 3 holes, so we can go ahead and use that, and then I'll just figure out something to hold the side pieces on. But at least we'll get a fender mocked up, and then I'm just going to move on to the door handles and get those on. But at least we're having some nice days outside where I can actually bring the hatch out, and it's not going to get poured on. So yeah, let's get this thing slapped on and see how it looks almost complete. Since we painted this car, I've had no front end on it, so this is a giant leap forward. Well, the fender's just kind of chilling on here for now. The color, it's like, it definitely looks a little bit brighter, but I think it's just the way the light's hitting it, because if I look at it from an angle, it looks right. So I think it's just because I have this bright light literally on it up front. I think it's throwing us off, and it's also not cut and buff. If need be, we can definitely blend it, but I don't know. It looks right. But yeah, there you go. The bottom isn't on yet. That's why the gap's kind of weird down there. But this is just kind of loosely mounted up, and the gaps look pretty good. I do need to get some paint, probably down in there, as you can see, but yeah, overall, not too bad. The fitment with the wheel is pretty dialed, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, I don't know, the color's throwing me off, but I think with a cut and buff and some time, it should blend. It is fresh paint, so I don't know. Kind of bugging me, not gonna lie. I'll finish getting the fender and stuff on another day, and yeah, hopefully this color starts to match the way I want it to. Like from here up the pillar, looks good. So I'm almost confident it's just the light that's throwing me off. Well, since Boxerfest, Panzer has sat in here in the trailer and hasn't been touched. I've been working on some customer cars as they take priority over my personal cars. However, I'm at a pretty good stopping point on the current customer car I'm working on, and all the heat protection material finally showed up in the mail after it was lost. Funk Motorsport actually sent out another order because yeah, the first order was lost somewhere in the UK, which is a real bummer. That's why the car wasn't on the dyno earlier last week when it was supposed to be. But we have it back home now. Let's get this thing pulled out of the trailer, get the Funk Motorsports heat protection on, and then maybe I can take it to work this week. I am super excited to actually be able to drive this thing. So, yeah, let's get this thing out. It is so good to see our boy back in the garage. I think first thing we got to do, pull the wastegate dumps off. We'll wrap those inside, and then I'm going to try to wrap the exhausts while they're installed on the car. And then we can just drop the turbo blanket on. Another thing we got to do, the NPT fittings that go into our turbo feed right in there, that middle piece, it is leaking oil on all of them. We got that one, we got one down there, we got one right there, and one right there. So that's another thing we got to take care of before we drive the car, is just pull all those out. I think we'll wrap it with thread tape, and that should eliminate the leaks, I'm hoping. And then really the last concern, once all the fire protection's on and we're not having any leaks, is the turbo guards. Obviously, you know, we don't have room for an intake filter or anything here, so I'm just gonna run a turbo guard. Now, I do plan on getting the JDC titanium ones, of course, because why not? But I haven't ordered them yet. So we're gonna figure something out. I just don't wanna suck in any of my headlight wires, because that wouldn't be too ideal. These are some fancy freaking headlights. So yeah, we'll figure that out. But for now, let's go ahead and get everything heat wrapped, and at least we'll solve that issue, we think. Coming into my house, I have all of the Funk heat protection here on the couch. So we got 2 turbo blankets. These things are super, super nice. Yeah, I think these will help out quite a bit. These are some Velcro sleeves for like hoses or wiring, that kind of stuff. And then I got some titanium wrap in both thick and thin. So we should have plenty enough for everything we got to wrap. Shout out to Funk once again for sending this over, even after the first one was lost in shipping. That was a huge, huge A+ on the customer service side, and I greatly appreciate it. But I'm actually going to be wrapping this stuff in the house because we got AC in here, and yeah, I'm not going to be sweating while wrapping all this stuff up. So let's get you on the tripod and get this first wastegate dump wrapped up. Okay, I got one all knocked out. It looks really, really good actually, and I'm happy with it. However, I don't have the tool to make the metal zip ties tight and nice and pretty. So I have that on order. It's gonna be here on Wednesday, which is in 2 days. So we're just gonna wait for that before we, reinstall all this. Yeah, it'll hold for now, but I do wanna make that look good. So I'm just gonna go ahead, wrap the other dump, and then we'll just have to wait till Wednesday to tighten that thing up. A couple days later, that is not a fun job, but we got her knocked out. All the dumps, all the exhausts, the turbo blankets are on, the up pipes are also wrapped, and yeah, came out pretty good. This side, for whatever reason, definitely came out a lot cleaner than this side, where you can clearly see the wraps. I'm not sure if you can only really wrap these one way or if I just really sucked on that side. I'm not really too sure, but shout out to my buddy Evan. he recommended not using the metal zip ties and using safety wire or mechanic wire instead. And as you can see, it's super, super clean. And you can get those super tight with a set of safety wire pliers, which I've never even heard of until he mentioned it, but they look like these. Essentially, you just hook on to the end of the wire and lock these things in place, pull from this little thing at the bottom, and it'll twist them super, super tight. So one, they're super clean. Two, you can add more hold points, and yeah, they look really, really good. So I actually have one left to do on the edge of the wastegate dump here, so I can show you guys exactly how these work. So first thing I'm going to do is just take this wire and kind of wrap it around where I want it. Kind of going like 1/2 inch down to match the other side. So even this is going to be symmetric. Go all the way around. And once that's on, you can kind of pinch it tight in the back. Then just go ahead, grab both wires with the pliers like that. Squeeze them nice and tight. Lock them in place. And now I'm just going to pull on the back of the pliers. And you're going to see it twist it up. And because I want these to lock in a certain spot, I'm going to do this a little more precise. That's it. Now it's nice and tight. You can snip the back. And go ahead and just tuck it down. That's super clean. Next thing we got to move on to is the hood bezels. So the little bezels that go around the exhaust where they come through the hood. Let me show you guys what we've been working on with these things. So originally I ordered that hood bezel right there. I believe it's a PLM or something along those lines. And the plan was to take that, turn it into a mock-up, and then make it out of titanium. So JDC boys got this aluminum piece cut out as a prototype when we originally built the turbo kit on the car. And that's what I used to do all the hood cutouts. And then they made me a full titanium one. So we have 2 of these, obviously, one for each side. They're just 100% mirrored and yeah, in burnt titanium to match that theme on the rest of the car. So a huge shout out to the boys at JDC for getting those things knocked out. I think it's really gonna bring the front end together. And if it gets enough attention, let's let them know and we can get those things on the site and you guys can buy them for your cars. We've been doing a lot of testing on new products for them. And I'm super stoked to be working with such a cool company, such a cool group of guys. And remember, if you guys want to get some titanium for yourself, use code BSHOWNBORN at checkout on their site. Save 10% on all the sick frickin' titanium. But let me show you guys how we're gonna get these things mounted on the hood. So I got some masking tape on this just so the drill bit doesn't peel the wrap all the pieces. And I've taken the prototype and just marked out all the dots where we need to drill holes. So I think what I'm gonna do is drill like 1 or 2 of them and then put the prototype bezel on, bolt it in, and then I can use that as little guides for when I run the drill bit through. So let's get like a towel or something to put underneath just so we're not getting metal shavings all over the bay, and then we can start drilling into the hood. So I decided to just full send it and get them all drilled out. Seemed to have worked out pretty well. Didn't tear up the wrap at all, so that's good. Now let's go ahead and get the titanium one mounted up. Hopefully it fits. Hopefully the holes are the same as the prototype. Gosh, that would be pretty bad. But the good thing is we have like a lot of room to work with because those things are pretty thick. Yeah, we can move it around quite a bit as need be. And I think we're gonna have to cut a little bit more out of the hood, but we'll get these mounted and then assess what we gotta do after that. Looks like we got to go a little bit bigger on the drill bit, so stand by. That looks insane. Holy smokes. That is so sick. We still have to make a few little, like, I don't want to say cuts, but we have to sand a little bit of the hood down around the bottom and a few other spots. And then obviously the piping will get modified when we change the priority to the up pipes. But for now, that's going to work out perfect. My white balance is going crazy on the camera, but there is the first look. Now that took about 2 hours to install that thing. But hopefully this one was a little quicker now that we know what we're doing and we're not doing any guesswork. But yeah, as you can see, the up pipes, this one's kind of slanted that way, this one's slanted that way. So at least they're even and symmetric, but those will get fixed and they're gonna match the exhaust perfectly and be level coming throughout the hood. But we'll do that when we modify the up pipes, like I said. I'm gonna go ahead and get the driver's side knocked out, and then we have a few more JDC goodies to slap on the car, and then pretty much wrapped up for the night. We can probably drive this thing. I'm gonna load up on like 3 fire extinguishers just in case. But yeah, it's gonna be dark, so I might wait until tomorrow, but we should be okay, I think. Sheesh. Second one went a lot smoother. It took like all of 20-25 minutes to get that thing installed now that I know all the drill bit sizes. But that looks so freaking good. Oh my gosh. It is now the next night, and the last thing I want to get done on this car before we take it for the first drive in the morning is refreshing all the hardware in the bay. Now you guys know I've ran Vivid TI in this car as far as most of the hardware in the bay goes since I built it. Josh Morford, awesome guy, came up when I was building the car across from Bader's shop and offered me a whole kit to slap on this thing, and that's what's been on the car. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So Vivid TI, all these purple bolts that you see around the whole engine bay, like literally everywhere, those are all from Vivid TI. Everything else you see, from badges to the alternator cover, all the caps, all the way around, those are all JD Customs, besides this hose, or pipe, which is RK Titanium. And you guys probably also know that JD Customs and I have had an ongoing sponsorship, essentially since I built the car. And they've supported me so freaking much. They're the only reason I've been able to get to as many events as I've been to. We've worked on a lot of prototype stuff for these cars together. And it's not just the stuff in the bay that I have from them. You know, we got antennas, we got miscellaneous badges, bolts all around the car, and even like random stuff like the stencil to spray paint the intercooler. They're the guys I reach out to make that kind of stuff for me. Like John, Paul, and the whole team there has just been super, super helpful. So now that I've ran the Vivid stuff on the car for over 1.5 years now, I haven't had any issues with it. It gets compliments all the time. Nothing against Vivid TI, nothing against Josh. Love those guys. But because of this ongoing sponsorship I have with JDC, I feel it's only right to slap their hardware in the bay, especially if we're taking it to shows and putting it at their booth and stuff like that. They've supported me so much. So we're going to take the Vivid stuff off for now, slap the JDC Titanium on there, and we should be ready to rip. So yeah, let's get that done and see how she looks. All the new hardware is now installed. I mean, we got this stuff everywhere. Even the manifold, got some new JDC hardware. We got the fenders, of course, the strut tower. We got the hood strut. Yeah, everywhere the eye can really see, got some new hardware. Now, I did want to show you, this is one of the prototypes I was talking about. This is JDC. I've been bugging him for a while about these fender shrouds. I believe we have them for the 15 to 21, But as far as the 08 to 14s, the GR, we never had any sort of fender shroud. So this is a prototype. I believe it's just aluminum, and we're testing fitment. And quite honestly, I think that is pretty dang good. So I really dig that. Just bolts in with your 3 bolts on the fender, and that's it. So yeah, I'm gonna call John. I'm gonna call John right now, see how he likes that fitment, and then maybe we can make these out of titanium. Now this side, for me personally, I might need a little cutout here for some wires to go through. I do want to clean up this hob switch eventually, so I might not do that. But for now, yeah, I kind of got some wires running through there because the hob switch wiring is a little bit short, and I didn't really feel like rerouting it right now. Just a few more little things I want to get done tonight before I fire this thing up in the morning. Just little things, cleaning up, zip tying stuff together, especially the wiring on the back of the headlights. Want to make sure that they're not getting sucked into the turbos. I don't have any turbo guards yet, so yeah, and then we'll pack some fire extinguishers, and I'll catch you guys in the morning. Yeah, good night. Well, it is the next morning. It's about 80 degrees out this morning, which is better than the 9900 degrees that it was yesterday. So let's get this thing started up. I'm gonna sit outside, kind of monitor the temps. I wish I had one of those heat temperature guns, because that would assist me quite a bit here, but I don't. So I'm just gonna use my hand, use my eyes, and make sure we're not catching on fire. Like I said, we got fire extinguishers, we got water. Should be good in case of emergency, but hopefully, fingers crossed, that doesn't happen. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So let's get the door open, fire this thing up, and see how it does. So it's up to temp now. Everything feels pretty good. I mean, I can literally grab onto the exhaust. I can touch the turbo. It's not crazy hot. Obviously, we haven't been out here ripping on it, but that's a pretty good sign. It is at operating temp and nothing is cooking. Now, we are still on the same tune as I had with the big single turbo. So AFRs are definitely not the most ideal. They're kind of jumping around all over the place, but that's a call to Josh Bader away, and we'll get that solved. But right now, it's not too rich, it's not too lean, it's idling really good, so I'm okay taking it down the road. Obviously, we're not gonna frickin' rip on it, but at least we'll be able to take it on its first little maiden voyage and see how it does. All right, we're all fueled up. Here we go. Don't let me down. Spicy. She is spicy. Let's see what happens here. So rowdy, boys. It's pretty lean though, so I can't get on the gas too much. I don't want to lean it out. Well, we made it to our first destination, my classic spot down here in the middle of nowhere, and this thing sounds so freaking insane, and I love it so much more now. It's just turbo whistle and more turbo whistle. Now, I'm not really sure how the lighting's working out here. I got the little CPL on the lens, but gosh dang, does she look good. and sound good and drive good. All the above. We're gonna reach out to Josh. I'm gonna get updated map on this thing because it's definitely a little lean, but yeah, hopefully we'll have that by the end of the day and we'll be able to drive this a little bit further. I just don't want to lean it out and cause any issues with that stuff. Alrighty, I've been doing some driving off camera, just trying to get some data for Josh, but he just sent me a text saying we're doing a 4th gear pull from 3,000 to 8,000 RPMs with a boost cut at 30 PSI. So we're gonna see if we have boost control. Intake temps at 90 degrees, so we're looking good there. Yeah, it's loud. It is loud. I did a 6,000 RPM pull before this, and she's making some noise. So it's fired up, and we already got the map flashed. Hopefully, we don't die. Ooh. Stand by. Come on, Betsy. Alright. Little rough start. We're okay though. AFRs are looking a lot better. Definitely working some stuff out on the tune, but that's what it's all about. Here we go. To get a 1, 2, 3, 4 to 4,000 RPMs, and then 3,000 to 8,000 in Sport Sharp. So. Now we just got to go to Mexico and try to get a 4th gear pull in. Alright, turning into Mexico now. We got a little ways for the straightaway, and then we'll send it. Straightaway long enough for this damn thing. Alright, I'm gonna try it again, but this time I'm gonna start the pull kind of before we get in the open. It's gonna lag quite a bit, especially going from 3K. It takes a long time to build up, so if we're like ripping on this thing 2 through 4th, obviously we're not going to start at 3K, so it won't be as laggy, but being that we're on wastegate and we're starting down at 3K, we got a lot to go. Alright, so that was right around a 7,500. It's starting to really freaking slam boost right around 6,500. So that's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with that. We're gonna head back to the house now. We'll send this off to Josh, see what he says. But holy smokes, that is so freaking loud and very rowdy. We're back home now, just reflashed a new map. We're gonna go do the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4 to 4K, and then we got a 4,000 to 8,500 fourth gear ripper. So now he's got the boost controller, I think, on. It was just on wastegate, so no boost controller, I believe, on the last pull. So see what happens here. Actually, hopefully that's not bad juju. Gosh dang it, dude. All right, stand by. Here we go. Yeah, baby. Holy smokes! Woo! Holy! That was 27 pounds. And she lit up, baby! Yeah! Fuck y'all! Fuck y'all saying it didn't do it! It did it! It fucking did it! Woo! Fireballs out the hood. You know the deal, baby. Woo! Oil pressure skyrocketing right now. So happy. This engine just wants it all. Woo! Hell yeah, brother. Yeah, screw all that said it never make boost. 5,500, 6K, we will rip it! Woo! Woo! I'm teary-eyed, but I didn't data log it! Oh, I'm an idiot, dude! I forgot to start the data log! We're doing it again! We're doing it again! It's alright, Panzer will take it again. I cannot get you to 8,500. We are going way too fast to stop at this corner. Oh, we died. Stand by. All right. Oh, that was me. I shut it off. Whoops. We're good. Oil pressure good. Vitals look good. Hopefully that data log saved. Wow. Golly. Made it back home, just got a new map flashed on. This is a 36-pound party map. Yeah, this is gonna make some jam. I have to go find a new runway because our runway in Mexico is not long enough for this. He wants it revved out to 9K, and Yeah, so I'm gonna go search, and we'll start this camera back up once we find a literal runway. That was 45 pounds. All my lights are on. No knock yet, which is good. But I think we definitely hit boost cut. Holy, on a 36 pound map to hit 45 pounds, we're pushing a little bit, so. Wow. Alright, that'll have to get updated. That is so rowdy. God, I have every light on the dash right now. Still running all right though. 45 pounds on twin 6.2s is absolutely insane. I'm kind of speechless if you guys can't tell to watch the fireballs come out as we hit boost cut. Wow. This thing is nuts, guys. This thing is ridiculous. It is now the next morning, and I want to give you guys an update. So last night, the last pull we did, we had a boost cut set at 45 pounds. We revved out to, I think it went to right around 83.50 on the RPM range, and we hit that boost cut, shut it down. So right now, the graph is pretty much straight up on the power band. It's very linear, and it's essentially just continuing to climb, and that's kind of what we figured. Especially with no nitrous to get these things spooling faster, it's just gonna keep going. So I think right now we're right around 900 wheel horsepower according to the virtual dyno. After talking with Josh, because that's only about 150 horsepower more than what a single 6.2 would make. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less, I'm not really sure. But we really have two options. Either we stop there and call it for now, or we turn up our rev limiter, turn up the boost, and rev this thing out to Pluto. And that's the option we're gonna take. I know a lot of you guys are probably like, why would you do that? But I am fully okay with the chance of taking this engine. It's lasted me a very, very long time, and it's all part of this testing process. And I think Josh and I both wanna see what can be done with the twins before we add the nitrous. Obviously with nitrous, we'll be able to spool them earlier, and we'll have a lot better luck lower end. But I think right now, if we add more RPMs, we're going to get more life and more essentially boost out of these things for a longer period of time. That graph's just going to continue going linear. So I want to try it out. We're going to rev this thing out to right around 10K. I think we have a boost cut around 52 PSI, so I'm not really sure how far up the RPM scale we're going to get before we hit that boost cut, but we're going to see. I do want to do a full check over the car because it did sound like it was a little clunky after the hit last night, so we'll see if there's anything up with it, flash a new map on it, and really send it. But yeah, I'm here to test this thing out, and I don't want to, leave everyone hanging. The car did make 900 wheel, which is really, really good, but it has so much more in the tank if we can add either nitrous or more RPM. Now, there's a lot of testing we still have to do with different parts, like we could reshape the manifold to be a different design, we could reshape the up pipes, we could reshape a lot of things to have better priority, but with this current setup, I think our answer right now is more RPMs. So we're going to give it a shot, see what happens. Car seemed happy on the way home. The only issue we're going to really fight is after like 8,500 RPMs, oil pressure on these cars seems to diminish. So you're really playing a fun game, and it comes down to one, how well the engine's built, and two, how much life is left on those bearings and the oil little seal on there. So I've been ripping this thing for the past year and a half. Not sure what's left of the engine. You guys know this was the very first engine I ever built in my life. So it's done me well. And if it'll handle this, heck, freaking handle anything. So, but yeah, I'm going to get ready. We'll get this thing backed out. I'm going to check over all 4 corners, make sure everything looks good. And then I'll catch you guys in the car and we'll go to Pluto. Well, I just got back home and went to send the log to Josh, and somehow, some way, I don't have a log. I watched back the video, I started recording the log, I ended the log, but there's no log to be found. So, for whatever reason, it didn't save, meaning we gotta go do it again. It sucks, because the reason for these logs is that if anything's going wrong, he can make the adjustments on his end, and we'll do, take 2, but now we have no data to see if anything's wrong, which means if it's wrong, we got to do it again wrong, and hopefully we don't send rods to the moon. But like I said, I am 100% okay with blowing it up for these testing purposes. That's part of the reason I built it, was to test this out, see what's going to work, see what's not going to work, see what's going to be most efficient, most inefficient, and really come to a conclusion on the twin turbo kit on a 4-cylinder STI. So we're gonna let the block cool down a little bit, let everything kind of cool down a little bit, and then we'll head back out to Mexico and do it again. Back home, just fueled up, and talked to Josh, trying to figure out why it cut out at 8K. I'm looking at the table. It definitely leaned out instantly as soon as we got right around 8K. Like, it was good, and then just no fuel. So my guess is, or our guess was, either that the vacuum line blew off the regulator, something's up with the pumps, or I ran it out of fuel. So I went out, vacuum line is still on the regulator. The pump sounds normal, seems to be doing its job, and I just filled up on fuel because we were in between like a 1.25 tank. So there's a good chance it definitely lost fuel. So we're just gonna try it again and see what happens. It looks really good up to that point, and it's still same linear power band, climbing power. So we just gotta be able to rev that thing out, and we should be good. So I'm letting it cool down for like an hour or so. It's pretty warm out here. That could be also an issue. So we're just gonna let it fully cool down, and then we'll go out, try it again. All right, this is take 3 on this map. First one didn't record. Second one cut out at 8K. Now we're fueled up. Let's see if we can get a full hit in up to 10K, baby. Here we go. okay. So not really sure. I think we might just be running out of fuel. The fuel system might just not be big enough, and I knew that coming into this. So I think we might be at our limit here. Car's still alive, still running fine. So yeah, happy about that. She's ripping. That thing's so ridiculously fast. It's just I'm not exactly sure why we're getting cut out. If I had to guess, it's fuel related. I can definitely feel us starting to just die out towards the end of the pull, and I think we're just running out of fuel. So we're definitely maxed on injectors for the most part. So until I get back from this upcoming deployment, when we put a bigger fuel system in it, I think we're at its limit right now. But I'm not complaining. Like I said, car's still alive, and she's pretty dialed, so we're looking good. Okay, so I got home, put the car in the garage, started editing, did whatever. Thought we were good to go, done, until I get an email from Josh Bader with a 50-pound kill map and says go log it. So this might be our 1,000. This might be more than 1,000, and it might be the end, but I guess we'll find out. We're gonna go send this thing. Same thing we've been doing, see what happens. It's one big test, but he says we're fully tuned, and we're all curious. So let's get back out to Mexico, see what it'll do. That's good data right there, baby. That is good data. Woo! She smells good, she sounds good. The numbers look good, it's just all adding up. Just as we were about to be done and go, hey, I guess we just need nitrous now. Josh has always got something up his sleeve. Woo! That felt so good. Well, my dumbass forgot to hit the start data log button again, so here we go, doing it again. What an idiot, dude. Well, there you guys have it. I know this was a really long video, but I tried to cram the last 4 or 5 weeks of, you know, this car into one video. I only used about 1/100th of the footage, probably less, and this is what you got. So, car ended up making 933 wheel horsepower. I can't remember the torque numbers on that pull, but that was on the 50-pound map, and we are out of fuel. Fuel system's completely tapped. Injector's at 106% mid-pull, so it's definitely leaning itself out. And so we're gonna turn it back down to like 45 pounds, keep it safe-ish. But yeah, 933 wheel horsepower is no joke. And if Josh sends me the virtual dyno graph before I end this video, I will slap it in here, but otherwise you'll find it on my Instagram, future, down the line, whatever. Next steps for the car is obviously bigger fuel system. We're gonna add nitrous to get it spooling a little bit earlier, and then what that's gonna do is pull our graph back a little bit so the power band kicks in earlier. And if we can spool it like around where I had the single turbo spooling, I mean, we're gonna be pretty dialed, and that'll definitely get us over the 1,000 wheel mark for sure. And next down the line is also an ECU. A different ECU is more than likely going to be needed for the fuel system I decide to run on the car, and you know, it'll also help with the nitrous setup, it'll help with rolling anti-lag, it'll help with all of that. So all plans for the future. It's just a lot of money, and that's why I don't have it yet. So I owe a huge shout out to Josh for, you know, always taking care of this car. It's still alive. I have no idea how. It's just blowing my mind every single day, and I plan to take it to work on Tuesday. So yeah, it's a wild one, but I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully I didn't bore you out too much with the super long video. Just had to be done. So I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, peace out. See y'all later.